Hey YouTube, I've been messing about the last couple of days with my EB6, which is a sort of like a Fender VI, apart from it's tuned like a baritone guitar, so it's tuned B, E, A, D, G, F sharp, B, E, A, D, F sharp, E. So that's kind of a baritone guitar, even though it's the same 30-inch scale. This is a guitar I made a while ago, an egomaniac myself, put my name on the headstock. This is technically a Fender VI, but it's a Telecaster kitchen worktop. So this one has Fender VI style strings on it, which are thicker and tuned to E, so it's E, A, D, G, B, E, as you'd expect. So ultimately they're both sort of the same. This one's a bit louder because it's got P90s in it, this one's got single coils. So these are both sort of in the middle, somewhere between a guitar and a bass. They're sort of both basically short scale basses but with 6 strings. So what's the better way round of doing it? Are you better off with, if you've got like a Fender VI, which I think is, when I made this, I don't think there was a Squier version of the Fender VI. I think I made it kind of just because I quite fancied the idea of it. I'd seen like Jack Bruce played one, and the Beatles had one as well. This one is actually, it used to be, if you I haven't seen any for ages because when I bought them, really good bass. There's a stag bass, which is a kind of nondescript shape, but it's got a really wide nut. So it's got lots of room, and the headstock I reshaped to be like the coffin style. Body made of, like it was a kitchen worktop. It's through strong Telecaster bridge, actually possibly even a Fender bridge. It has an Ibanez single coil and a 5-way switch, which does, I can't actually remember, different sounds. But so this is it tuned, this is fatter strings, one of your options, what you get on a Fender VI. So this is a 6-string bass, that's a baritone guitar, thinner strings in B. So this is just basically a bass, really. I'll do the Marshall bass up there. This is actually a really solid bass. Is actually miles better than a Fender the Squier one, because my pal Andy bought one, and the neck's really thin, the nut's really thin on it, the strings are really close together. It's not bad on this. These strings are well old. The big difference I noticed with it is the chordy thing. This, you can play chords, but they're very much, even on they're very much bass chords. So really you're kind of going, what is the point in the Fender VI? Why do you really need the 2 extra strings? And it's kind of like, well, I'm not really sure. I used to play one when I was in a band, with Jesse Ray, and there was one of the songs had a, and it was like, but there was a bit went, and I basically played the whole gig on this because of that one chord that I could go. Yep, so if I swap this, if I go on straight onto the EB6, the baritone guitar, which as I said, it's basically, okay, it's got P90s in it, so it's slightly louder. But it's the same scale length. No, not that one. That one. I'm only using the mono option today. See, it's got chords, but they've been, don't use it. Just maybe turn the volume down a little and try and make it a bit more equal. So you can still play bass. The difference is when you go to playing chords on this one, you've got like a big ringy. Obviously the difference there being as well, even though I'm playing a G, it's not really a G, it's actually something else because this is tuned to B. So it kind of depends what it is you're trying to do with your Fender VI or Fender VI equivalent. I don't know, yes, you could cover bases on the bass with this, as long as you don't want to go to the, as long as you don't want to go all the way down to an E, you know. So basically, well, actually, if it's E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp B, it's actually on the 7th fret. So that's how many notes you're not getting. I think I said 5 the other day. So, you know, and it's like a capo on the 7th fret of the Fender, of the Fender VI is the same as this. So it doesn't go nearly as low, let's be honest. But there's your E there, so. Actually now sitting here thinking, wondering if you actually just use the A string. Actually, the A string on this, what thing is it? Size is it? It's a 46. So the A string on this is, when I say A string, I mean second string, is actually an E string, is a 46, which is what you get in a set of 10s as an E string on a guitar. So you could, in theory, just not use the fat string and then put long length strings on there and just have it with 10s on it. And it's a 13. I think 13's about right for the B string on a. Yeah, nah. Interesting. It's really only this string that's different. This is much less tension. So we go back to the bass. Ooh. When I say bass, I mean Fender VI style bass. So that's as low as the lowest note on that. It still sounds an awful lot more like a bass than what that does though. achieving here. Basically just playing the two guitars for fun. Which would I rather have? I don't know. Well, it kind of depends what it is you're playing it in. Don't know. Finish up on this one. You'll notice I'm playing both of these with a pick. I think I probably could play this a bit more as a bass. Turn the volume up a little bit. Because this guitar's just not as loud. Try a pick. Sort of, the strings are quite close together so it's easier to pick. Probably be a better comparison if I had two guitars exactly the same to compare the two, because this one is quite different from that. It's got a much fatter neck on it. It weighs an awful lot more. It's much chunkier, and it's made by me, so therefore I've got a bit of an attachment to it already. Because obviously I make the best guitars in the world, so it's this thing is stunning. Actually, just looking out there, I remember making this so that it fitted. It's not actually longer than a telly. Do I have a telly? There's a telly there. It's actually the same length as a telly. I think it fits in a telly case. I'm going to do this and it's not going to be the same size at all. Ah, see, look. See? Isn't that clever? That's basically just because of the position, even though it's like a telly would be 25.5 inch, this is 30 inch, so it's 5 inches longer. That 5 inches is made up here by the bridge being much closer to the back of the body and the headstock being much shorter because it's not 6 aside. That was one of the things I set out for myself when I was building this. It was going to fit into my telly case. Yeah. So I suppose if you were playing bass in a band, you were the bass player. Having it like this is probably better set out because you've now got the full low E. You're going to be struggling a bit with the baritone guitar. Equally, if you're recording, or maybe if you're the guitarist, then the baritone one's probably more used because you can do the big ringy chords, which sound awesome. They're just not the same on this. It does do them, but they're, you know. I'm actually surprised how well the chords do actually work on this, but it's not the same as what the baritone does. I don't think this is actually quiet. I think it's just that guitar's dead loud. You do have, because like what you get with all 30-inch scale basses, you do have to be a little bit gentler on the low E. It doesn't quite have the, as you get on a P bass. You know, it's like just not quite. Doesn't have the same thump. So again, inconclusive. All my shootouts and decisions all seem to be pure inconclusive. Depends what mood I'm in. I like having both of them. That's the way around it, isn't it? Rather than having, if you're going to have two Fender VI type things, then have one as a baritone and have one as a bass 6. I've justified it to myself. This is back in the days when I still had to try. I'm still even roughly attempting to justify it to myself. Having so many guitars was, well, I don't have, you know, I don't have a Fender VI, so I'm allowed to make one rather than just making this into a telly bass, which it could easily have been. I mean, it was originally a 4. It would have had 4 strings on it anyway, but I just fancied being a bit mad with it. I quite like the look of it as well. I'm not sure. I don't know if it. There's actually a telly scratch plate there. I don't know if it really wants a scratch plate. I think actually when you see it there, you have some serious scratch plate cutting to do. Well, maybe not actually. Maybe that'd be all right. Maybe it makes it look more like a telly. This kind of, as it is, it kind of looks like the Chapman version of a telly. Maybe. I remember having to try and find that pickup because I wanted it to be. I wanted, you know, because it's just like a bar rather than being the shape a normal pickup is. That's what I always use. That one, you see, a normal pickup isn't completely a cylinder. It's got this sort of raised bit on the top. I wanted to find one. Was that? And the reason it's there is actually while this is sitting out, my Music Master bass, the pickup is exactly the same position as it is on this. That was why I put it there. That's why. Looking at it, it's annoying because I kind of want it to be closer to the neck, but that's where it is on the Music Master, and I was just thinking, well, they must have known what they were doing when they were making that, so in theory, the bridge pickup was just meant to be a sort of an optional extra sort of thing. if I remember correctly, what the switch does is in the neck position, it's this with the tone control on full, and then this is it with no tone control, and then this is both pickups on. Both pickups on in series, and then bridge pickup. Something like that. I'm not sure I chose the right knobs for this. I don't really know what I was thinking at that point. And I suppose I should probably put proper string ferrules in the back at some point. That's just a piece of aluminium with holes drilled in it. Does the same thing. 7 bolts holding on the neck. I think some of them snapped in it or something like that. This is back in my very early days of building a guitar. Oh god, stay safe. I've actually done 3 other videos today, which you probably don't want to be looking at. It's just I'm going to try and sell some guitars on eBay. I've not sold any this year because of lockdown, so I figured if I put them on eBay I can post them. Also, I might get a much bigger audience for the sort of more silly guitars. I mean, something like this, even if I'm not selling this, but if I was going to sell this, it's maybe not so much a Facebook marketplace. I think because it's such a specialised thing, I think I'd probably get more for it, and I'd sell it much easier if I did sell it on eBay. It's probably the same for more of the sort of mad guitars that I do, just to try and get a bigger range of people to look at. The exception being the sort of Buckfast and the Iron Brew ones, because they're kind of, I think they're only ever going to be bought by Scottish people anyway. Maybe. But for sitting messing about in front of the telly, like when you're just noodling, as I am saying just now, apart from videoing, this bass is really good. It doesn't feel cheap in any way. So I'm going to spend today. Oh no, I suppose I've not done a proper review video of the Avon this yet. That's not. I'll do that in a couple of weeks once I've learned how to play something on it. But since yesterday, I have screwed the scratch plate down, so it no longer rattles. Not that I'm really sure it rattled that much anyway. And I made a rear cavity cover out of the checker plate as well, and I earthed that. So now this is now a big massive RF shield, as is the back. And it seems to sound better, although that might be in my head. I'm not sure. It seems to just be a bit better sounding. I'm now sitting thinking whether I try and make... I'm annoyed I didn't... It's a kind of sort of lumpy... It doesn't look too bad from that angle, but if you get the light hitting off it, that's a very... It's almost like snake skin, what that lacquer's turned out at. It was because it was freezing in the guys when I did it. But I'm thinking of a truss rod cover, which I'm not sure if it really needs one, but getting a checker plate truss rod cover might be quite cool, and will take about 3 minutes to make, and it will tie it in with this. It might be too much, I don't know. And then I was thinking maybe I could engrave it with EB6. And at present this is staying silver. As I said before, it might be going black at some point, but I don't know. Make a feature of something that you had to do to fill a hole rather than just trying to hide it. Rock on, stay safe, happy week. Yeah, rocking. See ya.